Hello internet friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Ellie, I am 34 years old, and I live in California with my mom, my 11-year-old daughter, and my dog, Nova. This video is a Q&A, but before I get to the questions, a few fun facts about me. I am 5 feet and 8 inches tall, my favorite color is green, my favorite flower is sunflowers, and all of my favorite hobbies are active. I love being on the move, whether it's hiking, walking, playing sports, dancing, or even some roller skating. The only active hobby I have tried that I wasn't a huge fan of was rock climbing, and that is because I'm really scared of heights. It's also unfortunate for me because apparently a lot of queer people like to rock climb, and I myself am a late blooming queer. I did not know that I was queer until I was about 26, and since then it's been a slow process of self-discovery that I'm still in the midst of. But thankfully, even though I don't like rock climbing, I am finding other ways to connect with queer community these days. Last night, in fact, I just went to the queer bar downtown with a friend, gave the cute bartender my number, danced with some folks, and then today I actually went to a queer sports league to play kickball. More fun facts. My passion is filmmaking, and it has been since I was really little. My parents allowed me to use their old family camcorder. When I was about 12, I decided I wanted to be a film director. And though my life has taken a very different path, and currently filmmaking does not pay the bills, I am very grateful to have this outlet here on YouTube, where I can express myself and I can share and create. I'm also very passionate about self-love and mental health, and so those are two topics that I talk a lot about in my videos during this season of my life. I am really enjoying making videos these days, and I am so grateful for this little online community that we are creating in this little corner of the internet. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the questions. And now without further ado, I'm gonna answer them. First question, what kind of hopes, dreams, plans do you have for the future when it comes to work/living situation, etc.? Well, I have actually gotten a new role at work very recently, about a month ago, that I'm really excited about, and honestly it's kind of still sinking in that this is happening because it is a career path that I have thought about for a decade, that I have thought could potentially be a good path for me, but it felt really hard to break into. And that is HR. I have a bachelor's in psychology, and often when people get a bachelor's in psychology and they don't end up going on to be a psychologist or a therapist or get a master's of some kind, they often go into HR. But the thing with HR positions is that they want you to have experience. But how do you get experience if you don't have experience? It makes no sense. However, about 6 months ago, I got a new job. I had been in the vet field for 2 years, and I was making the difficult but good decision to change careers. And I got a scheduling coordinator role at a caregiving agency in my city. And after a few months of being there, I expressed to the owner that I'm very interested in HR and recruiting, because a big part of what we do as a caregiving agency is recruit caregivers to work for us, and then we match them with clients who need care. And so I was able to do some training, some cross training, and I was able to learn and practice making recruitment calls and leading orientations. And then the role that I wanted opened up, and I expressed so much enthusiastic desire and interest, and I had already been helping and doing that cross training. And they gave me the role. And I am so grateful for that. I am absolutely loving it so far. It has just put this new joy and excitement into my workday. It's certainly not all, sunshine and rainbows. There are definitely obviously stressful aspects to it. However, overall, I enjoy it so much. I love leading the orientations. I have always loved the opportunity to teach and to train. I've done that a lot in past roles, in the various kinds of work that I've done in the past. I'm a patient person, so that helps. I am a people person, so that really helps because I just love hanging out with people and getting to know them and answering their questions and supporting their work goals. And I get to do all of that in my new role. And what is really also very exciting about this is it gives me a clear career path to hopefully progress and make more money. And that transitions into the second part of the question, which is what are my current plans and goals and dreams for my living situation. So I cannot afford to live on my own right now with my daughter, not even in a studio. I have looked into that. It would be a tight squeeze. I think we could do it, but I can't even afford that where I live. And there are some slightly less expensive areas that it would be helpful to move to, but my daughter doesn't want to have to leave her school district, which is very, very understandable. So we will probably be sticking around here and continuing to live with my mom for the next couple of years. The plan, as of right now, and it could change, but the plan right now is that when my daughter transitions from middle school to high school, that is when, hopefully, fingers crossed, I will be making a lot more money and we will be able to move out and have a place of our own. Living with my mom is definitely challenging. I have talked a little bit about this on my channel before. We have a lot of fraught history and we have some difficult dynamics even in the present. We've certainly worked on our relationship a lot and it is better than it's ever been, but it's still tough at times. But about a month ago, we had a really good conversation about what we can do to work together a little bit better when it comes to living together. I shared a lot of concerns, and to my mom's credit, she really listened and she agreed to respect my boundaries. And now it is my job and my opportunity for growth to stick with my boundaries, because that is what I struggle with. And it's very easy for me to forget that I'm a grown-up and that I can do what I want. And so that is what I'm working on, and she's working on respecting my boundaries. So I think it's going to be okay. Difficult. I do think our relationship would be better if we were not living together. And of course, I really would like to be on my own with my daughter, but it's just not able to happen right now. So anyways, I hope that answers the question. I am hoping to make more money so that in a few years we are able to move out. And I don't think we'll be able to afford a 2-bedroom in this area, but even just a 1-bedroom would be so doable. My daughter and I did that actually for a year. The first year that I separated from her dad, he and I are currently finalizing our divorce, and so we could totally do that again. I gave her the bedroom and then I made my own bedroom space in the living room. So I think it's just a matter of finding the right place that has a living room that's big enough for that. And I've become kind of passionate about dividing living spaces in cool ways, because here in this place, My mom lives in the living room area. She was gracious enough to give me and my daughter the 2 bedrooms, and I helped her create a bedroom space with like a really cool bookshelf that I built myself from IKEA. It's huge and I'm very proud of myself. And then also like a partition. And so yeah, she's got her own space out there. And you know, when cost of living is high and housing is difficult to come by, you got to get creative. And I really like making it into a fun challenge, taking a living space and dividing it into smaller subsets. Next question. I'm on my own trauma recovery journey, and my question is, what are the most important things you've learned so far on your trauma recovery journey? This is a great question, but I find it hard to answer because I could just go in so many different directions. So I have complex PTSD from childhood trauma. I experienced a lot of abuse and neglect, and my childhood was pretty rough. And so in the present, I have anxious attachment, I have depression and anxiety that I take Lexapro for, and I have been in therapy off and on for a really long time. And I think that finding the right fit with your therapist is a huge, huge thing. It makes such a big difference, and it has made all the difference for me because I have had multiple therapists, and some of them I actually ended up taking some steps backwards and experiencing some harm from those relationships. So I'm very grateful to be working with someone now who is a really great fit for me, and that I've been able to learn so much and progress so much in my trauma recovery journey. The biggest things that I've learned are that the only way forward in recovering from trauma and in being a healthier, more healed version of myself is self-compassion and self-love. It sounds really simple, but it is so powerful and so crucial for me. I grew up with so much self-hatred from such a young age and so much shame. If I could tell you how much shame I am walking around with on a regular basis, shame is just my constant companion. And so self-compassion and self-love are the only ways that I am able to talk back to that shame, that I am able to take any steps forward in my trauma recovery. And my therapist has been a big part of that because they are so gentle and so compassionate. And I am so hard on myself, and they point that out a lot, but in a loving way. And when I am putting a negative spin on something and putting myself down, they often will give me a positive reframe to point out that I'm actually doing a lot better than I think I am. Or, maybe what I'm struggling with, a lot of other people struggle with it too, and that's okay. And for me, the only way that I've been able to continue on with my self-love journey, which is, like I said, crucial to the trauma recovery, I have to remember that learning to love myself is the only way that I can love others in the way that I want to. Wanting to be free of the feelings of self-hatred is not enough to keep me motivated to keep going after self-love, because it's so, so hard when you were raised to do the opposite, when you were raised to believe that loving yourself is selfish and wrong. I'm gonna read you some song lyrics. This is from a song called Drunk on Myself by the artist Anise. It says, "It's not cocky or self-centered to offer yourself grace. Offer yourself a place where no judgment awaits, 'cause hurt people hurt people. That's how this cycle is shaped. I refuse to be ashamed. I'm smiling right in my face." And I love all the lyrics of that song, but that part in particular is such a good reminder for me that if I want to break the cycle of hurting people and causing harm, I have to love myself. I have to believe that I am worthy of that love. So, yeah, it's a tall order, but it's really important. That's why I talk about self-love so much on my channel, and also why I talk about it a lot to the people in my real life. I think that there is no one perfect way to heal or to recover from trauma, but I do think that self-love and self-compassion are a huge part of every different journey that we each have. Next question. Would you ever go back to organized religion? Whoa, what a loaded question. So the asker of this question knows my backstory. I was raised in a high demand, high control religious upbringing. I was homeschooled. It was a very cult-like community, and it was evangelical Christian fundamentalism. And I have a lot of religious trauma. And I've worked through a lot of my religious trauma, but I still have a lot of it. And even though I have rejected many of the messages that came from that harmful religious upbringing, I still have them in my body. Going back to the last question of trauma recovery, I'm still recovering from a lot of what harmed me from organized religion. And the answer is, I doubt it. However, there are so many things about my life that I thought would never happen. For example, I thought I would always be a Christian, and now I'm not. I thought I would always be married, and now my divorce is being finalized. I think you just never know what's going to happen in the future, and things change. People change. I have changed so much, and I could certainly change in the future. So I leave a lot of space for myself to change my mind. But as of right now, I do not see myself going back to organized religion. I would probably have a panic attack in a church service, depending on what kind it was. At the very least, I would get real anxious and have to really focus on my breathing and grounding myself and telling myself that I'm safe, even though I feel like I'm very much not. So for me, it's not so much that I am against religion. You know, I think religion can be used for good, it can be used for harm. I totally respect people's choices when it comes to religion, as long as you're not forcing it on others, as long as you're not using it to harm others. See how that gets a little dicey? It's, you know, it's complicated, but for myself, absolutely not. I have no desire to be a part of any organized religion, and not even like other traditions that I did not grow up with. It's just too triggering for me. It just takes me back to a place that I am so grateful to be out of and never want to go back to. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm kind of like a little bit drawn to certain things that would be considered spirituality these days. Like, I really like doing tarot and oracle cards, and like, that's spiritual. I also just feel like I'm kind of a very spiritual person. And I'm also like, don't really believe in God, and certainly not the one I was raised with, and am very agnostic about it all. I don't think anyone can know for sure. And I don't think that it's fair or kind to say that your truth is the only truth. There are so many people all over the world with extremely different experiences and cultures and traditions and beliefs, and I just think like the more that we can respect each other and work together, the better things will be. And now that sounds like I'm preaching, so I'm gonna step off my soapbox, and I hope that answers the question. Right now, I could not see myself going back to organized religion, but hey, maybe in the future I will feel differently, and if that's true, I think it's gonna be far in the future, but I'll let you know. I'll keep you updated. Next question. What book, TV, movie, song recommendations can you share with us? I'm always looking for new suggestions. Thanks in advance. I love this question, and I wish I had a better answer, because I also love asking this question of people. But honestly, I haven't really been consuming too much of that kind of content lately. I've been watching a lot of YouTube. I've been watching a lot of TikTok. And my attention span, to be honest, is not as long as it used to be. And I'm bummed about that. But, I also know that so many people are struggling with that, and TikTok is designed to do that to us, and there's all this short form content happening. So basically, I'm really not reading much these days, and I'm also not really watching a lot of TV or movies. I will say that my favorite TV show currently is Abbott Elementary. I absolutely love that show. I'm watching the current season with my mom. It's been fun to watch it with her. This is, I believe, my third time watching it through because I really, really love the show. It's becoming kind of a comfort show for me. But other than that, I haven't really been watching much TV. Like, nothing else is coming to mind right now. And in terms of movies, I'm not a huge movie person. I have kind of like a list of my go-to comfort movies. I really love The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan. I love Sky High. I love To All the Boys I've Loved Before. Those are the three movies that come to mind. I know there's more, but I feel like those first two are maybe not the best suggestions because they're very niche and nostalgic for me. In terms of books, I am always going to be recommending All About Love by Bell Hooks. It is, I have realized recently, my favorite book of all time. I feel like that book should be required reading for every human alive. I just absolutely love all of Bell Hooks' insights about love and about society and how much society needs love and how much people need love. And I'm excited to read more of her books. I have a long to-read list, not just of her books, but of many different books. But yeah, I'm busy, and aren't we all? But I think it's just, reading is just not something that I'm really prioritizing right now. All of my active hobbies that give me endorphins from the exercise and serotonin, maybe, from the community and the friendship, whatever those chemicals are, they're helpful for my mental health. And so that is more of what I prioritize with my free time rather than reading these days. But there may be a season in the future where I read more. I used to read a lot. So I'm sure there will be more reading in my future. But for now, it's just like a little bit here and there. But music, yay! Okay, one part of the question that I can answer a lot more. Music, I got you, don't worry. I'm pulling up Spotify as we speak. I'm going to give you some of my favorite artists, some of my favorite songs. I went right to my self-love playlist. I talked about this in my last video. But here it is, self-love playlist. It needs a better picture, but we have After the Storm by Kali Uchis, Drunk on Myself by Anise, which I did read to you all just a minute ago. Also by Anise, Free Me, Fuck With Myself by Banks, Make It to Tomorrow by Andre Henry, No More Hiding by SZA. I really love SZA. SZA is one of my probably like top 5 favorite artists. She's amazing. Another top 5 favorite artist is Jessie Reyez. And on this list, I have the song No One's in the Room. Anyone with religious trauma will love this song. We have Special by Lizzo. We have Stay in My Lane by Stuck in a Tree. Also, What Wants Me by Stuck in a Tree. That rhymes. But What Wants Me, which I've done a cover of on my channel, is seriously such a good mantra for me. It's a song that I just try to listen to repeatedly every once in a while to really try to get that message in my head, because with a very anxious attachment style, I tend to chase friends and romantic connections. Chase, because I'm trying to prove that I am worthy of love and worth not abandoning. And so that song really helps remind me I only want what wants me, which is not true, but I'm working on it. Okay, what else? Now I'm going over to another playlist called Current Song Obsessions. And we have Do You Like Me by Daniel Caesar. Great song. And I feel like it just, speaking of anxious attachment, it just really encapsulates the way I feel with my anxious attachment, because I'm like, but do you really like me? Do you? And then we have Sexy to Someone by Clairo. I love Clairo. Love her so much. We also have Just Like That by Jessie Reyez. We have Best Interest by Tyler, the Creator. Great song. I have Heat Waves by Glass Animals. We also have Far by SZA, another amazing song. What else? Oh, just today I was listening to Ghost in the Machine by SZA, featuring Phoebe Bridgers. I was like, oh my God, the most amazing crossover I didn't know I needed, because I also love Phoebe Bridgers. So that was a really exciting crossover. And then the last suggestion I'm going to give is technically a podcast, but you can find it on Spotify. And that is A Little Queer Podcast by Ashley and Capri. They are best friends and they talk all about queer topics, and I love their podcast and it just makes me feel very at home. I was listening to it as I was driving today and just feeling like they are, you know, internet friends of mine in my head that I've never met before. Next question. How is the soccer team going? Also, I'm curious about how the camaraderie/vibes are on your soccer team versus your dance group. Like if you feel like if the structure of the activity informs the friendships. Great question. So it's funny that you ask about soccer, because I have my last soccer game next week. I've actually decided to take a break from soccer. I have been playing with one certain team in a co-ed league for a whole year, and I have definitely enjoyed it a lot, but I have been enjoying it less lately. And the reason why is because When I first joined this team, we had a captain that was very encouraging and very welcoming, and he really made the vibes very chill. And it just felt like, oh, we're just all here to like hang out and have fun, and like, yeah, we try our best, but like we also are in our 30s with work in the morning and we've got our knee braces on, and so we know that this is not the World Cup and we don't have to try super, super hard. But lately, the last few seasons, without this captain, because he retired from being in the league, it has gotten a lot more competitive and the vibes are completely different. And I just haven't enjoyed it as much. I still, love everyone on the team and I'm really grateful for all the memories that I made with them, but I just am not having as much fun with it. And also quite a few of my teammates are playing multiple times a week. And so they have, sorry, I gotta let my dog out. Go ahead, buddy, go ahead. I gotta wrap this video up because my mom just got home. Nova wanted to go say hi to her. So as I was saying, I don't have the time to play multiple times a week, so I'm really not as in shape as my other teammates. I'm not progressing in my skills as much, I'm a little rustier. So we're just not really on the same wavelength right now. We're not really on the same page of what we're there to do. And so I wish them all the best, but I have actually made the switch over to a queer league where I am playing kickball. I had my first game with them today, actually. The downside is that it takes me about an hour to get there. Unfortunately, there is no queer league in my area, at least not for kickball, and at least not on a night that works for me. But yeah, I had a good time. Kickball is pretty fun, and it's like exactly my speed. I still get to kick a ball, which feels good because I do love soccer, but I also can run and then rest, and that is so nice. My knees do have issues, and I've had injuries in the past, and I really love dancing, so I feel protective of my knees so that I can still dance. And so having a more low-key sport feels perfect right now. Dance is also going well. I switched to a different studio a few months ago, and it's really challenging me because the instruction is a little bit more advanced and the vibes are a little different at this new studio. So whereas with soccer, I've wanted to de-escalate, with dance, I've wanted to escalate in terms of how committed I am to practicing and progressing. And so I've moved from a little bit more of a more relaxed, like low-key studio to a more intense, more focused studio where like a lot of the people that take classes there also go to the events and also compete and are pretty serious about West Coast swing dance. So I'm still figuring out my place there. I'm still in the process of making friends, but one of my very, very, very closest friends who I met through West Coast Swing last year at the other studio has also made that switch with me. So we go together and we have a wonderful time together, and I'm so glad that she's there. But to answer your question about the structure of each of the hobbies affecting the kinds of friendships, I do think that the competitiveness plays a part in it. So I think finding the right hobby for you, I'm like a big proponent of adult hobbies now. I'm like, everybody needs a hobby in order to make friends and to just add joy to your life. I think that figuring out like what level of this hobby do I want is really helpful because, like, for me with soccer, it was really fun and I did really feel, a part of the team, a part of the group, up until a certain point when things started to go in a more competitive direction. Whereas with dance, I think at the old studio, I did have a much bigger focus on like making friends and like bringing people together and trying to facilitate like hangouts outside of dance. Whereas now I'm a little bit more focused on working on my craft, so to speak. And I know that so many of us are going to be together at these events. So I hope that answers the question. I had one more question, and unfortunately my camera is about to die, so I'm not going to be able to answer it, but maybe in the next Q&A. Thank you so much for all of these questions, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!